All right, Mom, let's talk about your travels. Give us some highlights of.
I'm trying to think of when we first traveled. We were members of the Schützenverein. We went to, 20 of us from the club flew to Hawaii, and we had had 20 of us go in, stayed at the same hotel, and then Joanne and Jimmy Mayran and Dad and I went to the revolving restaurant in Honolulu, and it was crowded, so you had a long waiting list. And so Jimmy, the waitress, the hostess comes and asks where we're from, who we're with, and Jimmy Mayran says, "Oh, we're the Carters." Oh, that's when Jimmy Carter was president. So they took us right in, and they seated us. They thought we were the Carters, so we had a wonderful seat in the revolving restaurant. We had a wonderful meal, and
When
also.
was that?
Pardon me?
About when was that?
That was in. When did we go to Hawaii? In 1978. Yeah, 1978.
Okay.
Yep. And we had I ordered a volcano drink. It was firing, the fire was shooting out of it. It was exciting, but I got kind of nervous, but it was delicious anyway. And then we walked the streets. We walked into a bar, and it was a gay bar, so we scurried out of there very fast. Nobody but a bunch of guys there, and they're hugging each other and everything, so we got out of there fast. And then we toured the island. It was wonderful. And on the way, when we were leaving the island, we took off from Honolulu with a very big bang, and I was petrified. Couldn't figure out what happened, and everything was quiet. Nobody said a thing. So we traveled for 11 hours to come home, and they said we couldn't land in Philadelphia because we blew a tire on takeoff in Honolulu. So we have to go direct to New York City, to Kennedy. So the people that were supposed to get off in Philadelphia had to go all the way to Kennedy to get home. And as we left the plane, as we walked by the window, we could see that the tire was there, all shredded like spaghetti. And oh my goodness, we had such a beautiful landing, you would never know that there was a blown tire. We had a wonderful pilot. Well, that was my first airplane ride. From then on, I was afraid all the time. I was always afraid.
But you did go back again, right?
Oh, we flew back again, yes. And then we flew to, where else did we? Oh, we flew to up to Chicago, to O'Hare Airport. We've been there, and then
What'd you go to Chicago for?
we visited Luann and Lynn were living there. Luann and Lynn were living there. And then we also drove to Chicago, stopped into Niagara Falls, and I got so close to the falls, the water was going over the sluiceway there, and it wants to draw you. It just draws you to it, so I backed off and I walked away from there. I couldn't handle that. And then another trip we took, we flew enough, let's take a train ride. So Dad says, okay, we'll take the train. We took a train from, the bus from St. Petersburg to Tampa, from Tampa to Sanford. We got on in Sanford on the train, and we drove as far as almost into New Orleans. We were supposed to travel to New Orleans, but they diverted our route somehow into Indianapolis. And well, we waited there, stopped in Indianapolis, and all of a sudden we're backing up. Instead of going forward, we're backing up. We had to let the freight go through. And I didn't know that. I couldn't figure out why we're going backward instead of forward. So then, that's when Al went and took his denture cup in the middle of the night, took his denture cup and set it on the little shelf there, and the water dripped on some wiring, and I started to smell something. I said, oh, that doesn't smell good. So I called the usher. I told him about it, and he said, he says, let's get out of here. He says, you're going to set the train, you're going to stop all traffic on the train. He says it's going to ruin the electrical wiring on everything. So we had to get out of there, and I think I don't know what he did, but he made us leave, and we took our luggage and had to go into another car, into another cubicle, because it smelled horrific. We couldn't stay there anyway. And they almost shut the whole train down on account of the electrical problem. That was, he got quite a speech from not only me, but from the higher ups too. And anyway, we were so glad to get off of there.
So then you got over the train thing and you flew back to Hawaii after that, right?
Yeah. But you know, when we went to visit Lynn by the train, Lynn picked us up at the Union Station, and she was already married. She lived on Maple Avenue, and she showed us our bedroom where we were going to sleep, and Dad fell to the mattress. He says, that's comfortable. He lay there and he zonked out. He fell asleep. He was so tired from the lack of sleep, traveling all night long with no sleep in a different cubicle. Well, that was okay. Then after that, we flew again to Hawaii, and Nikki's birthday.
Wedding.
Nikki's birthday, we went to Hawaii.
Well, right.
First.
Right.
Yeah. And we celebrated that in
Kauai.
Kauai, yeah. And that's when you took the helicopter ride. I didn't dare go on that.
No, you stayed on a bicycle, I hear,
Oh, that was
at Donna's.
at Dawn. Yes, that's right. Nikki and I were going bike riding. Nikki says, come on, Grammy, go bike riding. Oh, sure, I'll go. So, but what happened, I took Donna's bike, and she had a pouch on the back of her seat. And as I was pedaling down the street, that pouch hit the back tire and stopped the bike just like that. So I had nothing to do but just keel over. I just fell right over. I didn't hurt myself, only my wrist. I did injure my wrist. So that night we went out to celebrate Nikki's birthday. I could hardly hold up my fork. I could hardly cut my food or anything. My arm hurt me so much, my wrist. But that was okay. That healed up in a matter of a few days. And then again we flew to Nikki's wedding.
Right.
And that's 2005. And I remember flying over at 9 o'clock in the morning. We were flying over New Orleans, and the pilot lowered the plane, and he showed us what Katrina did It was nothing, oh, you could see nothing except water and rooftops. That's what Katrina, that was a big flood. So that's how I remember when Nikki got married, is that 2005. And that was a wonderful day. We had a wonderful time at the wedding. We stayed there a few days.
Where was that at?
Uh, that was at
Marina Del Rey.
near Santa Monica.
No, it was at Marina Del Rey.
Marina Del Rey, yeah.
So
What
and
was
then-
near LA there somewhere? California?
Yes, yeah. Marina Del Rey. We were there a few days. And we did a lot of traveling there. And that was nice. It was too short. We wanted to go into the city, but they had a
Power outage.
power
September,
outage.
it was September, what was it, 12th?
They had a,
They were married on the,
it was shortly
10th.
after the wedding.
it was 2 days later, I think, when we were going home, just that day, because we had the power outage, so the airport was knocked out and everything.
Yes, yes, so we couldn't visit any longer, we didn't go anywhere after that. And we headed home. And then we flew from there to Denver, through Denver, and that was a nice flight home too. So by that time I wasn't too afraid to fly anymore.
So now you're flying back and forth to New England.
Well, we traveled by car a lot too.
No, I'm saying now you're flying up to New
Oh
England.
yeah, flying to New England, yeah.
All right.
We flew to
I-
Bradley several times.
I see you're still driving.
Pardon me?
I see you're still driving.
Yes, I'm still driving. Driving the same car that we used to drive to Massachusetts,
What kind of a car is it?
the Grand Marquis,
What year?
in 1990. It's only 23 years old. It was built in Canada. And
When did you get your first driver's license?
where?
When?
When? Let's see. I was,
Did you need a license when you first started driving?
I drove when I was 12 years old.
Right, but you didn't need a license though, did you?
No, I didn't get my license till I was 18.
Okay.
No, I was 19. No, I take that back. I was married at 20 and I got my license just right after I got married, that's right.
So you've been
Because
driving a long time.
Been driving for
70 years.
70 years.
You
And
ever had
still
any
going
accidents?
strong, and I've been driving, we've had the same car now for over 10 years.
Ever had any accidents?
I never had an accident, but I had a close call where we're going down a mountain in Greenfield in my older car. We had a 38 Oldsmobile and I was driving that and the brakes failed down the mountain. And my sister was with me. She says, I'm going to jump. I says, you're not jumping. You stay with me. So at that, I didn't have the presence of mind to shift down into second or low because we were taught that. But thanks to the good Lord, there was a road to the left. As we were going down the Greenfield Mountain, there was a road to the left that went up to Canada Hill, and it was going up, and I went right up that hill, and there was enough of brake fluid that flowed back into my brake line that gave me enough brake to stop the car. Talk about luck. And that's what I was told by the guy that fixed the car. He says there was enough of brake fluid to stop the car. Well, my prayers were answered.
Didn't you have an incident in Taylor Hill where the car went off
Yes,
the
I
road
had a 38 Chevy convertible.
with a
I
rumble seat?
Yeah, that you used to ride in the rumble seat. And I was coming down about Taylor Hill, just left my mother's house and visited. Thank God I was alone. And I was driving home, and all of a sudden the brakes failed on this 38 Chevy. And I was going about 30 miles an hour. It was a dirt road. And all of a sudden I had no steering. My steering column went. And as luck would have it, good Lord again, I went just between a big boulder and a telephone pole, right perfect, about a foot on either side, and I drove right into the field. And this one man was watching his cows, and he says, runs up to me, he says, "Are you okay?" I says, "Yes, but I don't know what happened." I says, "I had no brakes, I had no steering." And so he says, "Well, you go home, and I'll call your husband where he's working." And so that was at Uncle Frank's. He was working for Frank. So they came up and took the car. They towed the car away. So that's another lucky break I had.
I remember that one well.
Yeah. And I was so happy that nobody with me, the children, because everything that I had was bouncing around in the back seat and everything. Because
Well, those fields were rough. They had a lot of rocks. Yeah.
Something's hit me on the back of my head. Oh Lord, that was pretty frightening.
Well, tell us about, you used to do a lot of family get-togethers with your relatives on Sundays.
Well, we had no other entertainment except relatives. One cousin played the accordion, another one played the violin, a third brother played the guitar. So Sundays we used to get together at different families or at different relatives' houses. So one weekend, my mother, I remember, she'd bake pies and everything, get ready for the company. And we'd have a party at our house. Then another time there'd be a party at another relative's house. And this is what we did for entertainment. Every Sunday we'd, go to church in the morning, come home and party. It was great growing up. And it was a wonderful, wonderful life. We were growing up. And then when my brother, my youngest brother was christened, we had a christening for him at the house. And our new house was just finished being built, and we had the christening at our house. And we children had made a play of the 49ers, the Gold Rush, and we made a wagon made a cover for it, and we had certain different lines we all had to rehearse. And we had this little play. We had all our family come and bring their chairs over and watch us. We had the barn. We had the curtain, the sheet for the cover. That was our curtain, and we all performed very well. And they says, I remember my line was, "What do you see over there?" I says, "There's gold in our hills." That was my
Your big line.
that was my part. There's gold in our hills. I'll never forget that.
Who wrote that play?
Pardon?
Who wrote it?
My cousin. She was just a few years older than, but she's smart. Helen Franca. She was a very smart girl, and so she says, "Let's make that play." She was the one who read the book, and so this is what she did. And then another one of my tasks was at the end I had to hold up this sign, "The End," and this big sign that I made, and I held it up, "The End." That was the end of the show, and the people were applauding us. It was so wonderful, and I was. It's in